Well, I'm from a garrison area down by near downtown Kingston. The garrison is called Jonestown. I have been struggling on the road for over almost 4 years. But I try to always to keep myself out of trouble. But sometimes I keep myself out of trouble, troubles come to you. Right now I'm living in the gully and I'm trying to open prayer every day just to leave the gully, to go somewhere that's more better off, that I can live my life and enjoy myself more.
It is quite difficult for anyone who's growing here in India. We face so much of stigma and discrimination every day. And I always talk about the kind of stigma and discrimination which is we are so used to it and we think that it's part of our life. I mean, we deserve it.
We haven't seen many transgenders and hijras in the mainstream society. Lack of job opportunities, lack of ownership among them, stigma, discrimination, violence, harassment is quite closely attached with this visible, so-called visible but yet invisible community. The Indian government, the law which does not recognize men who have sex with men, and it's quite difficult for the government to really understand the needs of the community.
The draft laws that are currently registered in the Kyrgyz parliament, we have two draft laws. The first draft law, which was registered in March this year, it prohibits propaganda of homosexuality in media or in person-to-person communication or anywhere else. But it doesn't limit the scope. So you just cannot, you're basically banned from talking about homosexuality. Even demands of non-discrimination, demands to stop violence against LGBT people will be considered propaganda of homosexuality, which is very strange logic, because how can you see this as propaganda when you're talking about violence and hate crimes against LGBT people? But still. So basically, these draft laws are aimed at limiting all kinds of information about homosexuality, about gender identity, sexual orientation in general.
It is our culture that we are religious. It is our culture that homosexuality is wrong. We not check for them things.
Your family can accept you, but the community won't. And so even if your mother or your father or your sister may have some tolerance towards you, you will still have to leave. Because remember, you will have to live in a community that hates you.
An 1864 Act has been used to criminalize anyone who considers themselves LGBT. You are wrong under the law. People will say you deserve to die, you deserve to be in prison.
This is a very serious problem. The police and the media has taken a few isolated incident of robbery involving gays and has turned it into a whole-scale marketing to say gay people are robbers and thieves.
A lot of people have been suffering, engaged people have been suffering, a lot of us need help. Some of us, even if they do get help, they do appreciate it. This is not all of us live down here. You have some of us live down here in some of the houses, and some of us live in tunnels, and some of us live in the passage. Yes, most of lights we do worry about, we worry about rats, roaches, scorpion, mosquitoes, flies. We try to keep our area that we sleep in clean. Most of people immune system are weak because they're not eating properly.
There's a very clear link between homophobic, transphobic discrimination and poverty in Kyrgyzstan. LGBT youth specifically, they encounter this problem of being sort of left out of any economic support. The first problem that follows from this is that they are not able to finish their education, majority of them. Second of all, even if they have education, they are not able to get a job according to their diploma or their skills.
There's not an enabling environment in Jamaica to create access to employment, education for young gay men, MSM and transgenders, right? And it is very difficult, and hence it forces them to do risky behaviors.
There's an estimate that the government put out that 3 out of 10 people are HIV positive. Our research and our knowledge and my common sense and living on the streets, and we know it's a much higher population. And the gay community faces a serious threat because there's a lot of the gay community that is sick, as you know.
HIV is just one of many. Women suffer from many sexually transmitted infections. HPV, gonorrhea, syphilis, herpes, all of these things are part of the things that affect everyone.
When we work with the community, we ask them what is their experience of engaging with healthcare professionals, and the situation is unfortunate in a way that there is no confidentiality kept. So once an LGBT person comes to a medical institution and a nurse or a doctor finds out anything about them, anything personal, then next time you go there, basically everybody knows that you're gay or you're lesbian or transgender person.
But Jamaica is a dangerous place to be gay. Right now, the police definitely don't give any protection to homosexuality.
There's a huge problem of violence and hate crimes against the LGBT communities. The violence and hate crimes against lesbian and bisexual women is more contained within the family. Bisexual women are married off against their will, or they face domestic violence from their closest relatives. They are subjected to corrective rape as well. A lesbian woman told her story that her brother had arranged for his friends to rape her so that she would become normal and heterosexual.
There are other women who have gone to police stations after having suffered from corrective rape, going to police stations and being told, well, you got what you deserved, or you brought this on yourself.
The LGBT community has problems with access to justice. So even when a victim of a hate crime or violence or motivated by homophobia or transphobia decides to report their case to the police rarely do ever register these cases, or even if they do, they don't register the hate motive of it.
I was a victim, but they think they took me as a perpetrator, as if I have done something wrong just because I was kind of soliciting or inviting people by who I am to come and hit me. That was my fault, and the police says like, why you behave in this way? If you behave in this way, people will of course come and do things to you. People will rape you. People will give bad names to you. Why don't you behave normal? And quote unquote, I don't get this, what normal is.
We need data. We are doing what we can, but it's online, and we're trying to make it as academic as possible, because I do know that you can do surveys online and they can be very good. So we're trying to follow that guideline, but we need data. We need support to be able to get that data.
The role of research is really huge and significant and cannot be underestimated, especially in the environment in which we have basically or absolutely no official data.
In order to be able to provide good services, we need to have information about what the needs are and what are the issues that are affecting the community.
The LGBT organizations find themselves in a situation where they have to kind of try and incorporate elements of education or empowerment into HIV/AIDS, mainly HIV/AIDS programs, or into the human rights programs. When we try to work on empowerment, we try to work on at the intersections of poverty, for example, and sexuality, poverty and gender and sexuality. That's where we don't have as much funding.
From an organizational perspective, we need support. There is so much you can do with love and passion, but there comes a point when, in order to really effect change and to have change, you have to have resources to do that.
One day something will happen, and we will conquer, or we'll make people understand this should not happen to us. Let's do it in a way that people can really benefit out of it.
I think I would leave it at saying that we are not beaten. We are strong and we are resilient, and we are working for change.